guys, Leah Michelle, Resistance Chicks coming at you March 24th, 2017. I want to preface this with something, and Leah hates it when I do this, but I'm going to. Here's the thing. When you have evil people, a mass amount of evil people against one person, I'm going to just guess that that person is not evil. Or at least not as evil as those evil people. Okay, so that's the stance that Resistance Chicks is taking on what is happening with the with the biased treatment of Israel by everyone in the UN.
You've got the UN Council constantly going after Israel for human rights violations. You've got Sudan, Qatar, Saudi, stinking Arabia,
Iran.
What are these people doing on the Human Rights Council anyways? And this UN guy, he rips them to pieces. And the one question he says is, where are your Jews? Because they're blaming Israel of apartheid. Where are your Jews? Man, he takes them down. It's so awesome. On March 20th, the UN Human Rights met to consider yet another item condemning Israel. I've never seen anything so blatant. Listen, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, or blah, 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 but my enemy is my enemy, and when my enemy is going after another person, I'm going to question. And when you've got the whole Arab Sharia law just trying to squash and kill Israel, listen, it's evil. It's evil. All right? So his name was Hillel Neuer of the UN Watch, furious that Arab state after Arab state viciously accused Israel of apartheid tactics, and he blistered them into utter silence. The whole room goes silent as he pointed out that it was the Arab states that practiced apartheid, snapping to each Arab state, where are your Jews? Before Neuer fired off his attack, the Palestinian representative stated, Israel has used the worst kind of abuse, ethnic cleansing, and imposing a regime of apartheid. And I'm not even going to talk about where's your Jews. I'm going to say where your Christians and your Hindus and your Buddhists too, right?
It says, forget the fact that 20% of Israel's population is Arab.
Exactly. There's millions of Arabs at least there's a million. I know that when I was reading. Okay, so here we go. Awesome.
Israel has used the worst kind of abuse, ethnic cleansing, and imposing a regime of apartheid.
Israel continues to exercise apartheid in Palestine, which constitutes a crime against humanity, violence and terrorism that are being exercised against the Palestinian people.
These violations include the building of apartheid walls to legitimize the theft of land and to Judaize Jerusalem.
The separation wall is an example of the apartheid policy practiced by Israel.
Israel's practices of discrimination as well as extremism.
Extremism.
Nation wash, have the floor.
You can just hear him.
Mr. President, let me begin by putting the following on the record. Everything we just heard from the world's worst abusers of human rights, of women's rights, of freedom of religion, of the press, of assembly, of speech, is absolutely false and indeed Orwellian. Today's report does not consider Israelis to be deserving of human rights, consistent with the approach of this council, where today's notorious agenda item against Israel completely ignores their human rights. Now, over the weekend, President Abbas announced he was giving his highest medal to Rima Khalaf, who resigned from the Economic Commission of Western Asia, a Beirut-based UN agency of 18 Arab states, after Secretary General Guterres rightly instructed her to remove an absurd report which accused Israel of, quote, apartheid. Mr. President, why is Mr. Abbas celebrating a report written by the notorious Richard Falk after his own Palestinian mission here tried in 2010 to remove Mr. Falk on the basis that he was, quote, a partisan of Hamas, as we know from WikiLeaks? The accusation against Israel is absurd. Israel's 1.5 million Arabs.
The delegation of Palestine has the floor.
More than one statement goes beyond the mandate of this sitting, using unacceptable terms about Ms. Rima Khalaf, and so we would like this to be stopped we have noted some terms which are humiliating vis-à-vis the Council, and we call for the respect of our traditions within the Human Rights Council. Thank you.
We would support the viewpoints that have already been expressed by the state of Palestine as well as Egypt.
Now, the previous speaker can continue.
Thank you, Mr. President. Israel's 1.5 million Arabs, whatever challenges they face, enjoy full rights to vote and to be elected in the Knesset. They work as doctors and lawyers. They serve on the Supreme Court. Now, I'd like to ask the members of that commissioned that report, the Arab states from which we just heard, Egypt, Iraq, and the others, how many Jews live in your countries? How many Jews lived in Egypt, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Libya, Morocco? Once upon a time, the Middle East was full of Jews. Algeria had 140,000 Jews. Algeria, where are your Jews? Egypt used to have 75,000 Jews. Where are your Jews? Syria, you had tens of thousands of Jews. Where are your Jews?
I have goosebumps.
Iraq, you had over 135,000 Jews. Where are your Jews? Mr. President, where is the real apartheid? Why is there a UN commission on the Middle East that does not include Israel? From the 1960s and the 70s, they refused to include Israel. Where is the apartheid, Mr. President? Mr. President, why are we meeting today on an agenda item singling out only one state, the Jewish state, for targeting? Where is the apartheid, Mr. President?
Oops. Oops.
They got nothing.
Oops. Somebody hit the oops button
We
on
got
that.
nothing there. Mm-mm.
You got people like throwing homosexuals off of buildings. You got people, cutting hands off of people, feet off of people, doing Sharia stinking law on people. And then they want to say that Israel is against human rights. And what are these people even doing on the Human Rights Council anyway? That's what I need to know. I am a country hick here in daggum stinking Ohio. And even I can see you don't put daggum Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Syria and Sudan on a human rights organization. Okay? And you don't get them stepping up saying, oh, we need to point out Israel's apartheid. You blow people up.
Listen, it all boils down to his question, where are your Jews? Where are your Jews? He's talking about hundreds of thousands of Jews that are no longer there. Yes.
This is a human rights violation. It's mandated by the government. The government. And if you go outside, you're a woman's, what is it? A woman's voice and a crime is worth half that of a man's. Okay? Women are treated as chattel in your stupid countries. Come on. And for all you people fighting against
But hang on, it needs to go back to Syria. They weren't always like this.
Amen.
These countries haven't always been this way. And like
the 60s and 70s
the Patriot
huge
Gallery likes to point out, to be perfectly honest, the gospel of Jesus Christ came from the Middle East.
Yep.
It came from countries around there. And so there were Christians.
Constantinople.
There. All right? And Jewish people were spread throughout the Middle East. All right? Jews were everywhere. And now they're not there. And so that's why, Leah, you guys, I know a lot of you are just so anti, the Israel and the Jews and your neocons and all this, that, and the other, and they exist.
Place. They're being mass murdered.
There's extremism.
Have you read
all
the
that
Quran?
stuff? The Zionists, we get it. We get it. Okay, but that is not everyone. Real Israel, they're just real people, okay? They are you, they are me. They need a place, they deserve a place. This is their place. That's where they belong, okay? What?
Where are the Jews? Where are the Christians? As much as where are the Jews?
Where are the Christians?
Why aren't the Christians in those countries as well?
Where are the Kurds?
In Egypt.
Where are the Yazidis?
Right, exactly. So
Syria.
this is such a huge. They have literally wiped out. They have
Jews and Christians and anybody else.
Exterminated them, essentially. They have caused them to
Genocide.
either leave or they've killed them. So that is the big issue right now. The big issue right now is not whether the secret neocon Zionist Jewish people or whatever are colluding with George Soros. Okay, guys, that's not the issue right now.
Terrorists and Sharia law, they're trying to take over the world.
And they're trying to take over Jerusalem. They're trying to take over Israel. That is the issue that we are facing
the Arabs
right
get
now.
a hold of Jerusalem, I gotta tell you,
it's a bad. You want Israel defending Jerusalem?
Christians, you're not going to Israel anytime soon.
No.
Nobody. If the Arabs get a hold of it, you're just gonna. You won't go to that. You won't go to Jerusalem
ever again.
Go.
No.
I mean, seriously.
No, the Holy Land will no longer be a place for
and even moderate
Christians to go.
Muslims do not acknowledge that Israel has a right to exist.
Right. Exactly. They're
I don't
very,
think
very
there's any
staunchly
Muslims
against
that
it.
do.
No.
And so I know that they're wrong, and they've got to be wrong on this issue. There's not one thing that I can agree on right now that I know of with a Muslim.
Right. Exactly.
Dear God.
All right, you guys, that wraps up this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell for notifications. And find us on Facebook and Twitter. We love you guys.
I was cold all alone. No place for home every day. So afraid. But you called my name.